Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna go over the copula code with you to help you better understand this copula code. So I think there are three parts of code. So the first part is to create a function. The second part is to simulate the copula process. The third part is to count the default for each row. So let's start. So the first part is to create a function. First, you should input your company values, which is your data, and a threshold. So inside this function, you have two rows. The first row is to filter the company values which is less than threshold. So every time when the computer finds the company value which is less than threshold, they're gonna put this value into this result. So after this process, you can have a series of data which is the company values that is less than threshold. So this function, the length inside of the return, is the function to count the result. So and then after you count the result, return this value to this function, and you can get your count defaults. And this is the first part. So the second part is to simulate the copula process. So if you want to create 1,000 paths to simulate one companies, and you want to simulate 100 companies, and the correlation here is 0.2, and the first, you should create a independent variable. So this function is that you have 100 times 1,000 values, which is 100,000 values, and this 100,000 values should be following standard normal distribution. So we can have 100,000 variables, and this is only a series. If you want to create a matrix, here you have to use the matrix function, and number of the passes is your row, and the number of companies is your column, so that you have 1,000 rows and 100 columns data. So this is your Z, the independent variables. So I think these three rows simulate the same process, but the basic idea is different. So this the first row is to simulate one company which has 1,000 variables, and this rep means replicate. So after you simulate one company, you replicate 1,000 times, so that you can have 100,000 variables, and you put this 100,000 variables into M, which is different from the M here. Let me show you. So run this variable. You see, you have 1,000 data, and after you run this code, you're gonna have 1,000. See, you're gonna have 100,000 data, and the computer here emit 90,000 data. So if you want to, so this is your company values, but you have to create a matrix here. This function is just the same as this function here. So number of passes is your row, and the number of companies is your column, and M is your data. So if you run this function, you can see this. Oh. And you see you have 1,000 rows and 100 columns. And this is just the copula function. So after this, we have finished our copula process. You see, this is your matrix here. And the third part is to use apply function. Before I explain this to you, I'm going to show you a simple example here. So this, I'm going to create a 2-column and 8 rows matrix here. And the first column is all 3, and the second column is the number from the first part is from 4 to 1, and the second part is from 2 to 5. So here, the first column is all 3, and the second column is from 4 to 1, and then 2 to 5. So what is apply? Apply is that this is your data matrix, whatever, and this part is like this. You should you use which way to sort or process your data. For example, 2 is means column, the 1 is means row. So if you want to calculate each column's mean, you're gonna use column, right? So this is the method how you process your data. So if I run this, you're gonna see 2, 3 here. The first 3 is your mean of the first column's data, and the second 3 is your second mean of data. So if I want to count if I want to know the sum of each column, so I can see here the first column's sum is 24, and the second is the same. So if I want to calculate the sum of each row, I'm gonna change my number here to from 2 to 1, and if I run this code, I'm gonna get 8 number, which is the sum of each row. See, 3 plus 4 equals to 7, and 3 plus 3 equals to 6. And there is another function called sort. So you're gonna filter your data in each column from the smallest one to the largest one. So if I run this code, you can see there is nothing changed here, but the second column is changed from this is new data, and this data from the smallest one to the largest one, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. So this is a function of apply, so that we can go back to our copula code. So company matrix is your data. You want to filter this data for each row. So you're gonna put 1 here, and count the defaults is just the function we created before. This function here, and we also should put the threshold here, which is minus 1.88. So we're using the count default function to filter the data in each row. So this is a function we're using to filter the data, filter the company matrix. So I'm gonna run this. You can see there are 1,000 numbers here, which means for the first row we have 100 company. There is 1 company is gonna default, and for the second row there are 5 companies are gonna default. For the third row there is no company is gonna default, and so on. I think this is a whole part of copula row or copula code. Thanks for watching.